Hello, this is Coach Pastor Frederick Proctor from Lamar University doing my video reflection on observation 2. First question says that what did I learn from this entire activity? So, a few things that I've learned and my key takeaways from this activity is that special education students, when we're looking at the data, they need tailored interventions to improve STAR math performance. So, Coach, what do we mean by tailored interventions? Tailored interventions mean what specifically are the students struggling with? And everybody knows in the state of Texas that we use a TEK-based performance data. We break everything down by TEKs. We don't use Common Core standards. So when we have our STAR data, when we have our EOUs, which are end of unit assessments, we need to see what specifically or what specific TEK area that the students are struggling in. As we looked in the video, I mean, not in the video, but our data, we seen specific TEKs like 8th grade was performing low on an 8.5 TEK, or we seen the strengths they were performing very well on Pythagorean theorem TEK. So we have to take those particular things into perspective, and this is how we tailor our interventions to improve our STAR math performance. Next is that we need to the target support for our EB students is essential to bring the language and content gaps. We need to bridge those gaps between the content language and the content gaps for our EB students. I know that we're shorthanded on staff when it comes to dealing with our EB students. We had one teacher that left. It's right before STAR in the middle of the year. She was our only AEA teacher. Those for the kids that speak the language for the first time. They're new into the country. But we also only have one ESL teacher as well for our chemist that does the ESL for one for 7th grade, one for 8th grade, I think. Yes, and so those classes are so, what's the word I'm looking for? They're so jam packed. There are other students in there as well, and we're short staffed on support for those kids. So these are things that we're taking into consideration that we need to target this of the support for the EB kids so they can get the necessary supports that they need in those classes as well, especially in the ELA classes. Third thing is that what I've learned from this activity is that focusing on math processes and problem solving skills enhances understanding. So we focusing on the math process skills. So what does that mean, Coach? We working on the process of how these kids understand, or how do our students understand how to solve their problem. We using the UPS strategy, how they understand their process and then their solution. How do they justify their answer? How are they getting to their answer? Are they even getting an answer? Or are they just stuck and not processing the standards totally all the way through? We need to focus on how our kids are utilizing these strategies. Are they utilizing strategies to help them understand the math problems that we're getting, especially when it comes to the STAR test? Kids need to learn how to strategize, read the word problems, pick out the correct verbiage that the question is actually asking. Like, kids need to know what how many of each, less than, what does those words mean? These are all process and problem solving skills that enhances their understanding. Also, the differentiated instruction is key to meeting diverse learning needs. Kids need differentiated instruction. We can't always get up there and lecture and talk and just say, okay, this is how you add 3 plus 3 and write 3 plus 3 on the board. Do they have some type of visual? They may want to use a number line. They may want to write it out in a sentence. We may provide them with sentence stems. There are numerous of things that we can differentiate and scaffold and break down and chunk the assignments for our kids and for them to be able to understand and meet the diverse needs of our students and meet them where they're at. How will I use what I've learned in this observation activity in the future? Well, for one, I will start by meeting more regularly with our administrators, meeting more with our ISs, our instructional specialists, and really breaking down the data of our special pops and subgroup students, where they actually are. When you have a campus with a high need and as many kids that we have into those subcategories, we really want to focus on them and at least have them approaching and meeting on these exams. Why? Because those are the bulk of our numbers in our school. So if we're declining per se, as in getting those kids up to grade level standards, then essentially our whole campus is struggling, because most of our campus is made of special pop students and EB students. So we need those kids to be performing at least on grade level, if not beyond grade level, because that makes a difference in our numbers and our data and how we need to move forward in curriculum and instruction. What activities or experiences do I need to bring my learning from this observation activity to the next level? I would say being on a campus that is so sensitive and so needy to an administrative presence in the hallways, in the classrooms. We're stretched very thin with support in classrooms. This week alone, this month alone, I think I've only supported in the class a few times. Thank God that my kids have overserved hours, because I had to tell pass because we had teachers out. So I tested for 2 weeks. Then I had to cover a class for the next 2 weeks. So it was a challenge just to even develop, to get the data and be able to find time to even do my recordings this week to bring my observations up to the next level, because time is not on my side on my campus, because I am basically in an administrator role, even though I'm the intern, but the campus depends on my presence as one of the lead coaches for athletics and the boys and the girls, as an administrator, to be a presence in the hallways, to go in and out of the classrooms, to help coach some of our teachers that are struggling with classroom management. So I'm in and out of these classrooms all day long. So it's very little time for me to actually sit down with my administrators and for us to sit down, unless it's probably before school or after school. So these are the things that I think that are going to take my observations to the next level, is being more cautious of my time and being able to get some very, very accurate data and very good observations, even in the classroom, and being able to include more teachers into my observations, which is right now it's kind of hard, but I think moving forward, hopefully on this last video, I will be able to include at least my instructional specialist and a classroom teacher from each grade level for math. So my plan for next observation will include what went well in this observation. Well, the thing that went well in this observation is that I actually had raw data that we had just taken that helped me support my takeaways, support my arguments of what we need to do in this season of our testing. The data was very clear that some of our special pop students, our special education students, are excelling and are grasping the concepts that we're providing for them in the classroom, and that's a positive note. However, we are seeing a struggle in a particular grade level, and that is 6th grade. So 8th grade is excelling, 7th grade kind of right there, but 6th grade is struggling. And that could be in part of the foundational skills that they received in 5th grade, or it could be a combination of both. We have a lot of teachers out. Our classrooms, I think one teacher has like 37 kids in a classroom. And we all know in 6th grade, 37 kids in one math classroom is, and if you don't have very good classroom management, there's very little teaching going on at that point. So I think having the actual raw data of the students really helped. What could I do differently in the next observation? I think I mentioned that I could include at least one math teacher, or hopefully take this stuff to our PLC. It's very seldom that we're PLCing right now because everybody's covering classes. So we don't have a lot of people in our CBPLs right now to even discuss a lot of data, because we're discussing data on the go because everybody's covering a class or everybody's helping out in some way, form, or fashion. So my next thing is to do differently is to hopefully have a grade level teacher or another grade level teacher besides me in the next observation video, or at least have my IS or my resource teacher, which she teaches all 3 grade levels. She can represent all 3 grade levels, and have at least my IS or somebody from the math department in my next observation video. Who will I include in the next observation video? I just said that my participants, my IS, my grade level teachers, and administrator, of course. Hopefully I can get my my district math coach over here, and she can participate and give us our numbers compared to everybody else in the district, and maybe we can sit down and come to consensus of seeing what are we not doing and what are we compare what we're doing with what everybody else is doing in the district, and try to get a consensus on where we need to change or where we may need to digress. What will you share with your site supervisor concerning the next observation? I will share with my site supervisor concerning the next observation is that we need to make consistent time, either in the morning, meet early in the morning, or my coaching duties after school. I may have to miss a practice, and I may have to go into conversations to sit down with her after school. I do coach 3 sports. I'm in track right now, and so every day my after school time is consumed with extracurricular activities and duties that I had to perform as an athletic administrator and coach. So early mornings, late afternoons, if I can get her on board with that, that may be one of the necessary changes concerning my next observation that we may have to implement, and also with our data assessment specialist. What would be the purpose of the next observation? The purpose of this next observation would definitely be taking the third 9 weeks, first and second 9 weeks, and compiling all of that data to see where are we at as we move into April and May to our big whopper, the STAR test. Everybody in the state of Texas will be preparing for this test. And so I want to see, based off the first, second, and third 9 weeks, where we are at a campus compared not only to ourselves, but to the district and the state. Are we on a path to bring our campus from an F-rated campus, which we are, and we have been for at least the last 5 years, an F-rated campus, to at least a C or a D, or maybe a B campus compared to the previous years? When do you plan? I plan to record these next observations within the next couple of months. I have to look at the calendar, and most of my observations this time, like I say, I'm going to focus mainly on how are we specifically growing our special education students and tailoring the interventions to improve their STAR math scores. I think that we're doing a good job for as 8th grade, but I think the concern is the 6th and the 7th grade, and that could be from the lack of support that we have in 6th grade and 7th grade, with myself being one of the only inclusion teachers for the entire 7th grade population. And I don't think 6th grade has a support person, because we're in a season where people are quitting, and our staff is diminishing by the week as close as we get to STAR. And right now our campus is in a struggle just to maintain and to hold on to the positions that we have and make sure that all our classes are covered. People are taking off. Like I said, I've been covering a class. Actually, I've been covering a math class for the last 2 weeks, and also I had to test. I had to be used to test TELPAS, and our STAR mock. So for 2 weeks in the month of February, and February is only, a 3-week month, I was consumed with testing because we had teachers out. And so I had to take over those duties as an administrator to test the kids and make sure that these kids meet their program needs for as TELPAS. Then I had to do the STAR mock. So I know planning my time, making sure that I get these videos in adequate time and make sure they're in the format that's needed is my biggest priority moving forward. I can say this video reflection And this video observation was very discouraging for me because of the lack of the time and the emphasis that I had to put in on my campus this last month or so because of the lack of ethics and things that we have going on campus right now. I could not put my all into this video, and I'm very disappointed in that because I know that these things are good and it's good information and it's good things to thing. But one thing I can say that I like that in my observation video that my principal popped in, which led me to do two different videos. We laid in with an issue that was going on outside, and so that led me to we had to discuss that and then cut it short and then do a small portion to finish out my 45 minutes. But I hope that that is official because those things happen on my campus all the time. So like I said, the best thing for me to do is try to make some early morning times where we can sit down and discuss camp or stay late. I know a lot of times it's hard for me to stay late because I have coaching duties for the district to do. And early mornings, a lot of people are not available at all early mornings, or we're preparing to cover classes. So I'm preparing a lesson or I'm trying to get ready for a class. So hopefully I can catch this next video in a CBPL so we can condense and discuss all data relevant to Math Star as we move forward to the into the math portion, ELA portion, and the bulk of our STAR testing. I thank you for listening me to my reflection, and I hope that my reflection makes some kind of sense and that next time it will be a lot better. Thank you, Dr. Harvey. Thank you, Dr. Beagle, and all at Lamar University. Thank you.